It is 2020. 2020. Alright? 2020. Wow. Think about that for a minute. 2020. It's 2020. It's not like the beginning of time. And even if it was the beginning of time, what I'm about to talk about would not be acceptable. Alright? Number one. Alright? Way back in biblical times and all throughout times, it was never been okay to rape someone. It's never been okay to hack on somebody else's body. It's never been okay to kill them. None of these things were ever okay. It's never okay to drain them of their blood. Okay? If you stole a loaf of bread or even a piece of bread, you get your fucking hand cut off. Okay? You take someone's life, you lose your own. So, it's 2020 now. Okay? You have God's law, the original 10 Commandments that were carved in stone. Okay? Which means these are the rules. That's it. These are the rules. You follow these rules. You don't edit them. You don't change them. You don't try to do away with them. Okay? These are the rules. This is the law. Alright? You got those. Then, you were granted freedom. And with that freedom, you were given a constitution. That is your second set of laws. That is called man's law. Alright? With that law, you were granted freedom. Freedom. Okay? Which includes freedom to roam freely throughout the land. Freedom, liberty, freedom to make your own choices for yourself. Okay? To be treated like an adult. Alright? Do you know what an adult is? An adult doesn't just sit there and let these people talk to them like they're 2 years old. Okay? An adult doesn't sit there and let them take control of you. See, that's why you need that. Right there. Because other people are trying to dominate and control you. They're called communist. Okay? Now, the world is set up in a certain sort of way. Have you ever noticed that? There's these great big things between all the different continents. Alright? You know what they're called? Bodies of water. Okay? If those people want to live over there and they want to do what they want to do, they're supposed to stay over there. Okay? They're not supposed to get on a plane or a boat and travel over here and then force us who believe in freedom and liberty and happiness and justice and all our other rights that are afforded to us with that Constitution read and followed to a T, the way it is printed on paper in black and white, not interpreted. It's not a guessing game. If it was meant to be a guessing game, they wouldn't have wrote it down. Okay? They'd have just had you make it up off the top of your head. It's not a guessing game. Okay? Those freedoms were granted to you. You fought for those freedoms. People died for those freedoms. People still fight for those freedoms, supposedly. Even though they've chosen to conform too. And those deaths weren't supposed to ever be done in vain. Do you know what vain is? For nothing. Okay? For nothing. Absolutely no reason. They busted their asses. They fought in the trenches. They went to war without boots and without weapons. They taught their kids how to fight for freedom and justice and equality and liberty and all those things that are written down on that document that, again, is to be followed exactly. Not thrown out the window because you're scared. Not thrown out the window because you feel like it. It's not an umbrella. It's not a grid work to build other laws upon. It's not just there when it's convenient to you. It is to be followed every single solitary day. No matter what. By everyone. Be it a citizen or someone who works for the government. Which means when you go to the store and some asshole wants to bitch at you because you're not wearing a mask, you, as a citizen, have the right to sue that motherfucker and put them in jail, and you also have a right to collect. Because they don't have a right to get on a boat, travel over here, and tell you that you have to live communist ways. Big bodies of oceans between the continents. There's a reason for that. They want to live their way, they stay the fuck over there. You want to live your way, you stay over there. Neutral corners. But no. No. Instead, they want to get on their planes and get on their boats and come over here and tell us how to live. When obviously, and I'm sorry, it is obvious that they're not very happy people. So why the fuck would we follow them? Why would we do what they say? Why would we submit? Because that's what you're doing. Submitting to death. Because they want you to. Because they want you to. So you're just gonna lay down and die. You're not gonna stand up. On top of the Constitution, you have what are called federal acts and statutes. Those federal acts and statutes address all sorts of issues across the board. Do you know why? Because over time, issues popped up. And those issues had to be addressed. Which means I'm not the first one, and I'm not the only one that this sort of thing has ever happened to, which in and of itself is disgusting. Maybe I'm the first one and only one that this much has happened to. But a lot of the issues that are raised in my life and in my case have happened to others. They just didn't all happen to one person. Which, how the hell I'm still saying, blows my own mind. But that's not the point. I have 4 kids to raise, and there's an entire country and world depending on me. Okay? There's other people's lives depending on me. All these other people's lives are depending on me. Okay? They're depending on me. Right? So that's actually it right there. So they come over here, and then they want to erode. Do you know what erosion is? This is what communists do. They pick away and erode. Just like vultures. Ever see vultures? They fly up in the sky, alright? There's something dead on the ground, alright? They pick away at it until there's nothing left but bones, alright? That's what communists are. Communists pick away at society. Communists pick away at the law. Communists erode. The same way the rain falls from the sky and erodes the sides of a mountain, puts big crevices and cracks in it, okay? Eventually, there's nothing left. Alright? Everyone's dead. That's just the way it is. Okay? It starts out, we want you to wear a mask. The next thing you know, if you're in a certain, everyone has to be euthanized, or everyone has to wear a certain color shirt, or everyone has to do this, or everyone has to do that. There is no end to communism. Okay? You give them an inch, they take a mile. That's what communists do. You give them an inch, and they will take a mile. You know why? Because that's what they do. So, what do? You stand up. That's what you do. You address the issues. You handle the problems. You follow the law as it is written. Federal statutes. Prescription of communism. There's one for you. You know why we have that? Because we've had this problem in the past. They popped up. They started their shit. They had to be put back in their place. You can't tell someone what store they could go into, how much they can buy, how much they can earn. There's a law against that too. It's called free enterprise. Equality. You can't be sanctioning people. You can't be sabotaging them. That's corporate espionage. Corporate sabotage. See, there's laws on the books for all of these things. You have conspiracy to deprive. 331 million counts. And at this point now, you have genocide. You have genocide. You have domestic terrorism laws. Laws that were already in place to protect our monuments, to protect our people, to protect federal property. These laws aren't new. We didn't need an executive order for this. There were already laws in the Anti-Terrorist Handbook. Hello? You can't go sporting around Nazi colors and Nazi signs. Not here in the States. By rights, every one of those people could be arrested for proscription to communism. Get it? But instead of using the law, you just stand there. Instead of doing the right thing, you just don't care. Why? Are you high on something? What the fuck are you smoking? Do you think that the lawmakers wanted to just sit around and make these laws up for their health? Maybe it was for your health. Maybe it was to protect you. Maybe it was to protect your future, or your kids' future, or this country, which, oh, by the way, every officer out there swore an oath to do. Every soldier swore an oath to do. Every one of you. So did every judge, and I think even attorneys might have. But instead of adhering to that oath, which to me means that you are not good, because a man or a woman is as only good as their word, and you're not keeping your word. You're not keeping your word to me. You're not keeping your word to your kids. You're not keeping your word to the people who look up to you. You're not keeping your word to your country. There are millions of people that this affects. This is worldwide, which makes it billions. And you're going to sit there and play games. You're going to sit there and just allow it to go on. You're going to sit there and play pretend. You're going to play pretend. Again, you think that those people had nothing better to do than sit around and write laws up to make sure that you're protected, to make sure your kids are protected, to make sure your wife is protected, to make sure your grandma and your grandpa and everyone else is protected. Do you know that in that Constitution, one of the things that you were granted was the right to live? You actually have the right to live and to stay alive. Nowhere in there does it say that you have to die. No. It doesn't say that. It says you have a right to life. A right to life. Which means nobody should be coming around gauging your age. Okay? Nobody should be telling you how you should look or how you should dress. Nobody should be putting chips inside of you. Nobody should be paying attention to your periods or sliming you or raping you or doing any of these types of things. None. Absolutely. These things are all against the law. Nobody should be hunting you. Nobody should be taking matters into their own hands. Okay? That's called the vigilante. That's also against the law. It's called murder. Alright? Nobody should be targeting somebody else. There are laws, L-A-W-S, laws, federal and state, statutes. They don't mean statue like you just stand there, okay? They don't mean you wait around for someone else to show up and do your job for you, okay? You have at your disposal all the laws and case laws that are out there. Not just the ones that are printed in that little book. You don't say, well, this is outside my jurisdiction. Actually, no, it's not. Are you a cop? Okay. Are you sworn in? It's not outside your jurisdiction. You don't pass the buck. You don't sit there and say, not my problem, throw your hands up in the air. Or, I don't want to get involved in this. Well, now that you didn't want to get involved in it, you are involved in it. Do you get it? Because you don't want to get involved in it, now you're a defendant. Comprende? Because as far as I'm concerned, looking the other way, turning a blind eye, it's the same exact thing. It's killing. And I'm not the only one. That's called the private indifference. Law for that one. It's also participating in murder for hire. We just won't do our job. We'll let Dave handle it. That's murder for hire. Again, worldwide. Worldwide. Is it gonna ever click? Worldwide. Might want to wake up. Because honestly, you're all a bunch of fucking head cases. They're supposed to stay over there and do their thing. We're supposed to stay over here and do our thing. We're not supposed to follow them. And they're not supposed to tell us what to do. They're not supposed to bug our devices. They're not supposed to contaminate our food. They're not supposed to force their fucking bullshit propaganda lies on us. Okay? We're not supposed to bow down and conform and get down on our knees and beg for our lives. Alright? You're supposed to be an American, which means you're supposed to have a backbone no matter what. You're supposed to lead with honor, integrity, courage, and protect your country. That's what you're supposed to do. And you do that first and foremost using the law. There are prisons full of assholes. And these are criminals and real assholes. This isn't rocket science. This isn't hard. This is simple. It's a no-brainer. Use the law to correct the problem. You got a cop that don't want to do his job? There's a law for that too. Use prescription of communism. Use the RICO Act. Use relief of duty maritime law. There's procedures for these things. It should have all been gone over. Can you explain to me how and why I know these things, but you don't? Or is it just that you choose not to? Because you're friends with that guy. I've got news for you. He's not your friend. Okay? He's not your family's friend. Alright? Your wives hang out together. Guess what? That don't mean nothing. You know what matters? Your kid's future, your life, your house, your pension. That's what matters to you. Not his house, not his family, not his wife. If he wants to prescribe to communism, then you put him in jail where he belongs. You lead. You don't go allowing peer pressure to make your decisions for you. You lead. So, let me ask you, that guy over there who you think is your friend, think, keyword, I want you to think. One day wakes up and decides he's gonna jump off a bridge, are you gonna follow him? Are you gonna follow him? Or are you gonna say no? 2-letter word smack dab in the middle of the alphabet. N-O. Right there in the middle. Sit down and look at the alphabet. They put those 2 letters together. Did you ever wonder why that is? You are supposed to use the word no when somebody is trying to get you to break the law. To participate in or facilitate crime, or to help you to take other people's lives. It's a simple thing. And squished together. They're right there in the middle of the alphabet. Right there. Did you ever think about why that is? You need to stop being lemmings. You need to find your backbone. You need to stand up. Because this doesn't just affect me and my girls. This is worldwide. This affects you, your kids, your family, your future. Just keep in mind, if you're a cop, that's a dangerous job. And what do you think these assholes do? They target you. Why? Because you have a dangerous job. Think about it. So I'm not doing this just for me. I'm not doing this just for the kids. I'm doing this because it's wrong. And I happen to know my right from my wrong. And I won't waver from that. No matter how angry I am. I will yell at you. I will wake you up. I will stomp and scream at the top of my lungs to get your attention. But I will never waver from that. Do you know why? Because that's just how I am. It's just how I am. I know my right from my wrong. And you're not giving me a guilty conscience because I didn't say a word. I've been calling and calling and calling and calling, just like before. And you don't seem to think it's a very big problem.